I just figured we'd be, since
Yep.
he said he doesn't mind being on hold, better off
Oh,
getting it
good
set
idea.
now than trying to squeeze it in
Better to be prepared.
a minute
as they
and
say.
a half.
Yep. Good thinking. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the stream, we are about to go live.
In about 30 seconds.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Monday, November 10th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcoming everybody to the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison at the intersection of State and Fairchild. Beautiful late fall day, Zommers. A little nippy out there, but sun is out. Skiff of snow, enough to track a cat in some places over the weekend, enough to bury a cat for some of our listeners down in Waukesha, Milwaukee, in particular, Racine and Kenosha. Our weather forecaster, Corey Hartman, said that it was just a little bit of a wind wiggle or a little tracking made all the difference in this big lake effect snow in southeast Wisconsin. So some folks are still digging out. So busy work week to start us off, Summers.
Busy week indeed.
It really is. Glad to have you along. Big show today. You're not going to want to miss 1 minute of it. Coming up here at 20 minutes past the hour, we are going to preview, if you're watching on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, what used to be Twitter, X. You can see I got my Packer 3/4 zip on. We got the green and gold lights out. That's because Monday Night Football, the Packers taking on the Super Bowl defending champion Philadelphia Eagles tonight at a frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Mike Clemens, a great sports reporter, will be joining us live from Lambeau here at 20 after to preview that. At 2:35 after the Farm Report with Pam Yankee, Jane Matt-Nair, our friend and colleague and host of Matt-Nair on Air from 9 until 11, Monday through Friday, is going to join us talking about a lot of news, of course, today. One of those things we'll talk about with Jane, Donald Trump pardoning Wisconsin Republicans who were named in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. There are wolves on the loose in Milwaukee and cougars getting Botox. We'll explain with Jane and much, much more coming up in our second half hour today. In hour number 2, a Wisconsin fun fact. What's worse, Amazon or Walmart? And then we're going to round out the show at 3:35 for the remainder of the program with a very special, I'm going to call it a memorial. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which was lost on Lake Superior. 29 souls lost their lives. And coming up at 3:35, Superior, Wisconsin native and former Secretary of Commerce under Tommy Thompson, Bill McCoshen, will be here to offer his remembrances, along with Jenny Van Sickle, who is with Friends of the Edmund Fitzgerald on their new historical marker on this 50th anniversary of the wreck. And yes, we will hear from Don McLean,
Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot. I got my artists mixed up. Gordon Lightfoot in hour number 2 as well. But first, let's get right to the news headlines at this hour, 9 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. According to The Hill, yes, 8 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus voted yesterday evening to proceed to a House-passed continuing resolution taking a major step toward ending the 40-day federal government shutdown. The Senate voted 60-40 to advance the House bill, which will serve as the legislative vehicle for a bipartisan deal to fund military construction, Veterans Affairs, the Department of Agriculture, and the legislative branch through September 30th of 2026. It funds the rest of the government only through January 30th of next year. It sets the stage for the House to return to Washington later this week to vote on a bill in hopes of getting to President Trump's desk for his signature. There were 8 Democrats who voted for this. Lots of controversy. Might get into more of this tomorrow or later in the show if we have time. I was looking at U.S. Congressman Mark Pocahn's timeline on his Twitter feed, and the Democrats are at each other's throats because the progressives in the Democratic caucus in Congress very upset that Chuck Schumer, lots of Democrats today calling for Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer's political, saying that he should be taken out as the Democratic leader in the Senate. Because here's the deal. This deal that these 8 Democrats voted for last night is essentially the same deal that Senate Republican leader John Thune offered them weeks ago. And they said no to. And I believe admirably, because they were saying, no, the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, the funding, the tax credits are running out. And if we don't fix this, millions of Americans are going to have unaffordable health care, and millions of Americans, at least thousands of Americans, will die. And so they said, we're not going to agree to a continuing resolution until we fix this. And they had the 7-8 million people show up for the No Kings rally. You had the historic wins last Tuesday for Democrats at the polls. And then Chuck Schumer and these 8 Democrats decided to fold last night. I get that it's a Kobayashi Maru, to use the Star Trek phrase. It's a no-win scenario in some ways, because these 8 Democrats are basically saying, look, do you really want all these millions of kids not to get fed and poorer folks on SNAP, food share benefits, to not get what they need? Do you want people not be able to get home for Thanksgiving? Federal workers not getting paid? And so basically they, my word, sold out for a promise from Republican leader John Thune for a vote on extending the tax credits for Obamacare next month. Nothing is promised by the leader in the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson. So more to come on this. The Democrats voting in favor of this last night: John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Angus King, independent of Maine, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, Senator Jackie Rosen, Democrat of Nevada, Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, Jean Shaheen, as Matt Flynn likes to say, Democrat of New Hampshire, and Senator Maggie Hassan, Democrat of New Hampshire. We will see. And by the way, none of these people are up next year. As Dana Carvey says, how convenient. From the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, judge temporarily blocks the Trump order to undo food share resumption in Wisconsin. Reporting Molly Beck of federal court has temporarily blocked a directive from the Trump administration to undo work by the Evers administration to provide benefits to recipients of public food assistance during the federal government shutdown. Here's the bottom line on this. The courts last week, on Friday, said that Trump has to pay all of the food share benefits. That's what it's called, Wisconsin. And Governor Evers, Democrats, smartly, immediately funded through the cards all the recipients in Wisconsin. And then the courts came back, the Supreme Court, and said, no, you can't do that. And now the federal government, the Trump administration, is threatening the states that did what Evers did if they don't undo it. Governor Evers had a great response. One word on social media: no. I thought that was fantastic. So keep going, Governor Evers. We will see. Once again, to me, the cruelty seems to be the point of it all. And now for a Supreme Court update. That's right. The Supreme Court has stopped in the name of love. The Supremes today, the court, not the group, turned down a request that it consider overturning its landmark decision to legalize same-sex marriage a decade ago. The court, without comment, declined the petition, filed by Kim Davis, a former Kentucky county clerk who gained national attention in 2015 when she defied a court order and refused to issue a same-sex license because of her religious beliefs. She asked the Supreme Court to reverse an order that required her to pay more than $300,000 to a couple denied a marriage license and to overturn the same-sex marriage ruling of 2015. At least 4 of the 9 justices would have needed to vote to hear Ms. Davis's case and revisit the marriage precedent, a major step that many legal experts had said they were not expecting the court to take. So the Supreme Court says, no, we're not going to take up and reverse the Obergefell decision. So same-sex marriage equality is still the law of the land. That is good news for many of us. The bad news is Todd has nobody to marry. So, but I mean, for everybody else, I think that's fantastic. On the not so great news, in my opinion, the Supreme Court agreed today to decide whether states may count mail-in ballots received after Election Day, taking up a Republican-led lawsuit that could, keyword could, affect election laws in more than a dozen states across the country. It is the latest of several high-profile voting cases to make it on the Supreme Court's docket this year, as the justices are asked to deal with controversies dating back over the past several elections. 15 states allow regular mail-in ballots to be accepted after Election Day, including presidential battleground Nevada. Most of the nation's battleground states, including Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, require ballots to be received before Election Day. Other states accept military ballots after Election Day. So we shall see on that. So again, as far as affecting Wisconsin directly, not so much, but it could, keyword could, have an effect on results or ballots that can or can't be counted in other states. I just believe that our military folks who wear the uniform, our men and women who are stationed overseas, those in embassies, foreign service officers, should be allowed to vote. And you know what? If for whatever reason their ballots come in a day or two after the election, I believe they should still be counted and still vote.
Yeah, it kind of seems weird to make it more difficult for the most patriotic among us to vote.
Yes, exactly right. And so I hope that as this thing goes forward, the Supreme Court will take into consider people's constitutional rights to vote. That's the main thing I'm looking at. And oh, by the way, here in the state of Wisconsin, lots going on as well. Our own Shelly Pittman, news director, Dan Schaefer, political editor, are all over that and watching it. Lots going on. One of the things being talked about at the state capitol this week, consolidation of some public school districts and how that's all done. Remember, for a lot of rural school districts, their identity revolves around those Wisconsin public schools. So we'll be following that as well. That was a speed round, Summers.
Yeah, I managed to at least touch on a lot of things.
We got everything in we wanted to talk about there. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we have our friend and farm director, Pam Yonke, Midwest Farm Report, followed by our other friend, Jane Matnair, host of Matnair on Air. She'll be here at 2:35 talking about news you can use, and also some things that probably don't matter, but are also a hell of a lot of fun to talk about. That's the point of the segment, right?
It's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes. But right now, stay tuned. When we come back, it is Monday Night Football. No better person to cover it than our very own Mike Clemens, sports reporter, who basically has a cot at Lambeau Field, I think. He's there all the time. He doesn't miss a beat. He'll be in with updates, the latest from the Green Bay Packers, who's going to play, who's not, what's going on. I know we had a great interview with Micah Parsons as well. He might touch on that. And also, how cold is it really up there at Lambeau Field? Mike Clemens is a tough dude. This is nothing for Clemens. Come on back. Mike Clemens, Monday Night Football is next. A discussion. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Join El Sazon Jarocho on Plaza Drive for karaoke every Friday and Saturday at 8:30 for margaritas, pizza, and wings. Plus, stop in for lunch Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. El Sazon Jarocho. You won't leave hungry.
El
just happy.
Sazon Jarocho.
Looking to grow a career?
See, if I was
David J.
fluent in
Landscaping
Spanish,
is
I would,
hiring.
honest to
Enjoy
God, I'd do an
competitive
entire
wages,
half hour in
opportunities for
Spanish.
professional growth,
Just to
and a
tick a certain
supportive
amount of
team
people off.
environment. No experience necessary.
But I'm not
David J.
that good. I
provides
can't
paid training.
speak it
Enjoy the
fluently.
benefits of working
I wonder
for
what
top
our
industry
supervisors would
companies
say.
in the country. If you're just looking
Like,
for
it's
money on the
equality.
side, David J. Frank
It's
is
equity
also hiring
equality.
for snowboarders.
We're here.
Call
Well, we could have
608-283-9276
subtitles.
or
English
visit
subtitles.
That would either require us to script the show or use AI
I
or
was going
something.
to say, now there's a legitimate use of AI.
No-shot dentist,
right?
Victorious Dental in
As long as you
Madison.
note this translation may not be 100% accurate. You know,
Recommended by the American Dental Association.
you don't want to mix up your años and your anos, or you know.
No, you don't want to do that at all.
Drills for a kinder, more humane healing experience at the dentist. Reach out
Those
to
of you who
Victorious
don't speak
Dental. We'll
Spanish,
help you win the
one of
battle
those
for your
means
health.
year, and the other one means butthole.
Only at Victorious Dental.
What?
Find us at
Años
Yeah,
and-
año is year, and ano is anus.
You've taught me something new.
You have the
I'm not
resume
sure
from one
whether it's
world
good or
without
bad, but
But now
taught-
you know it.
But now you taught me something new.
Yes. About 46% of Normandy County's 4,300 residents.
So yeah, that's
receive SNAP food
something
aid
a lot of
in
teachers
April,
encounter
among
when
the
people
highest
don't take the
rates in the
time to do
state.
their
In
like
March
special characters on their
2024, the
keyboard, and they just put an
percentage
N
was
instead of an
51%.
enye.
The county is
Really?
home
And
to
then
the
they're talking
predominant
about people's
tribal
anuses
nation.
instead of how
Oh.
many how
80%
old
of
they are.
residents are American Indian. SNAP is the federal food program for low-income people, formerly known as food stamps. The program cost
Zommers cracks me
$100
up
billion
sometimes.
in 2024, or 1.5%
30
of the
seconds.
federal budget.
Thank you.
President Donald Trump's big bill is projected to remove 3.
What's your thoughts on Jordan Love?
A lot of respect for Love. I think he's a really good quarterback who's made a lot of plays, won a lot of games. Coach Flores won a ton of games. Yeah, a lot of respect for how he runs the offense and how he can read through things, accurate as a passer, able to make plays with his feet. Tough. And I continue to see him get better as we continue to play them.
Tonight at Lambeau Field, it's Monday Night Football on national television, assuming you don't have YouTube TV. We'll talk about more on that next. It'll be from Lambeau Field. A lot of people tonight going to see in their minds, are the Packers for real? Can they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions? Or do they need to not relax? Here to answer all those questions and more, our great sports reporter live from Lambeau Field, Mike Clemens on the phone line. Mike, how are you?
Hi, Todd. Yeah, we did have a couple of TV sports reporters talking about that YouTube issue that was coming down over this weekend. But I know that's a concern for some families in Wisconsin that want to watch this game tonight. I'm doing good. It is. I was just checking the forecast now. At 28 degrees at the kick, mostly cloudy skies. Doesn't look like we'll have some snow. I know we got hit with snow in parts of the state last night, some lake effect. But other than that, it'll be a chilly game at Lambeau tonight for first week of November.
Several fans, I'm sure, will be getting lubricated in the parking lot before they come in to keep themselves warm. So it should be a raucous Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, the game can be heard tonight on WRCO in Richland Center, WCQM in Park Falls, and WRJN in Racine, Kenosha, WAUH in Watoma, and WIMI in beautiful Ironwood, Michigan. How about that? On the Civic Media Radio Network.
Yeah, and I think one of the best play-by-play teams, especially with Wayne Larrabee at the helm. I mean, I see him being used on NFL films all the time. I know the networks like to use this play-by-play, so that's a great way to call the game.
Yeah, it really is. You had a great interview this week. I know there was a tragedy at the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. One of their players died by apparent suicide after a chase. Oh, his teammate, Micah Parsons, of course, now former teammate, now plays for the Green Bay Packers. And you had a chance to catch up with Micah Parsons, Mike.
Yeah, and you see, you know what? First, I saw that story break. Oh, there's a 24-year-old player that took his own life after a police chase down in Dallas. And I thought, okay. And then you know what? I stopped and thought, wait a minute. And you know, I heard you talking about putting AI to good use. I put in a couple of words. It's like, oh, wait a minute, hand to forehead. First of all, the Packers interviewed that player. His name was Marshawn Nealon out of Grand Rapids, played for Western Michigan. They interviewed him before the draft. His mom passes away just before the draft, and yet he gets ready for the draft, gets drafted by the Cowboys, and he was going to sort of be the heir apparent as a defensive end of Micah Parsons, who, you know, called him like his little brother. So Micah will be playing with that kid's, with a heavy heart with that kid on his mind. Micah's got a bit of a pectoral injury and a bit of an illness, but he's listed as, I think, questionable for tonight's game. He'll play. But we asked him about how important this game is, facing the defending champions, the Eagles, at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football.
It's like a respect thing. You kind of know, like, you should be taking us serious. Like, we're earning this on the field, and we don't care who you are, what you've done. We're trying to earn them stripes. We're trying to take them stripes. We're trying to get to where you're going, and that's, like, what makes this league so competitive. There's teams that go to the NFC Championship, Super Bowl. We all got them dreams and aspirations to do that. When you come that next year and you're on the top of the mountain, it's like, how do you stay there? Because everyone's coming for it, and we're coming for the top of the mountain. They're coming to Lambeau to show them why they're on top of the mountain, and we're showing them why we're climbing the mountain. So it's going to be a respectful game. It's going to be a very respectful and disrespectful game. It's going to be a dogfight.
Micah Parsons, what an addition to the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys last year. Mike Clemens, our sports reporter, is on the phone right now from Lambeau Field. Mike, you had a chance to catch up with Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Packers, this week as well.
Because when the Packers lost to the Eagles in Philadelphia in the playoffs last year, one of the issues was when Elton Jenkins went down with a shoulder injury, they weren't the same for the rest of the game. So the offensive line has to have a great game. Now, Matt LaFleur continues to rotate like the right guard. This year it's, Sean Ryan in for second-year man Jordan Morgan. And I asked LaFleur, why do you do that?
An offensive line, if you're healthy, why do you rotate guards? I can think of 2 or 3 different reasons why, and how common is that in the
why
league?
are they, Mike?
How about player development or competition or keeping guys like defensive line, keeping guys fresh?
Yeah.
What's the main reason you do that?
All 3 of those. I mean, you knew the answer. You answered your own question.
Well, I watched the game.
Do you want to come
Sure.
work with us?
Sure.
All right. I like where your head's at, Mike.
But it's not common, right?
No, it's not. It's something that I do recall doing back when I first got in the league in Houston. We had a situation like that where we'd rotate guards, and I do think, you mentioned it, the D-line is a position typically where there is more rotation, and, you're always getting a fresh body thrown at you. So when you feel good about multiple people, of course, you want to keep them playing, keep them engaged, keep them a part of everything, and keep developing them. So I think that's kind of where we're at.
So somebody saw in Houston.
It is.
Head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, and the undercard there, the headline that was buried. Our own Mike Clemens, sports reporter on the phone, has been offered a position by the Green Bay Packers by the head coach. Mike, are you leaving us?
Yeah, like I'm going to be out there with Luke Butkus holding up pads for these 320-pound linemen. No pass. I'll stay on the sidelines and be the radio boy. By the way, Matthew Golden, the first-round pick, at wide receiver, he missed practice on Friday and Saturday. I saw him during warm-ups, but he's had this shoulder injury that's been bothering him. He's listed as questionable for tonight's game.
Sounds good, Mike. Any other big news here, 30 seconds left, or just buckle up and get ready for some hard-hitting football?
Buckle up, get ready, and the Giants fired their head coach Brian Daboll today after they lost to the Bears yesterday. That's the Packers' next opponent in New Jersey on Sunday.
There you go. Nobody covers it better. Gives you the up-to-date news. Mike Clemens. Thanks, Mike. Have a great game tonight. We'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned. Our pleasure. Jane Matnair is next on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WMDX in Mad City. More lakes, more cheese, more fun.
Get updates on what's happening in your community right to your phone through the Civic Media app. Select WMDX in the app and news comes to you. Real news and great conversation.
There she is.
Hello, my
Jane
friend.
Matnair. It's a fun day. I have all these people. I got Clemens. I got you. I just get to sit here and be traffic cop, which I love. You know.
That's nice.
Yeah. Saying thanks to Mike. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Cold. It's cold.
I was listening this morning. You had to drive through the blizzard. My God.
It had stopped by the time I left, but it just came up so suddenly that all of a sudden there was snow on the ground and the lane was gone.
I didn't even know we were supposed to have like that much snow even down there.
I saw something on Twitter last night before I went to bed. It could come ashore, it might not. It was off the lake. And when I left this morning, I could see it.
Wow.
This big, dark, looming, mass as I was heading east and south. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got there and back safely.
I leave plenty early now. I get there with lots of time.
Now I gotta ask: is this a brooch? Is this a communicator? Is this a light? What are we wearing here today, Jay? It's very trendy. It's
like a heated jacket, maybe.
It's a heated vest.
Get the hell out!
I asked my husband for it last Christmas, and I use it. I need more batteries, actually. It's But I use it all the time in the winter. And the studio in Racine is either broiling or freezing. And so
Same thing
I
here,
have at the studio, I have like 4 layers on.
Wow. I got one last year when I went up to do the Birkenbiter, and it was amazing.
Heated vest, they're
recommendation from
fabulous.
Trigby.
Yeah.
They're
absolutely
fantastic. I love this thing. But we can also pretend it's my communicator for my mothership if you want to go that way.
I thought it was very fashionable.
Oh yeah. It is brooch season, however. I should get my brooches out.
I know you're a big brooch person.
Mm-hmm.
Ba-ba-ba-da-da.
And the Wisconsin Honey Producer Association annual convention in Neenah wrapped up on Saturday with some big announcements. Congratulations to the new 2026 Wisconsin Honey Queen, Emily Scala.
A new honey
She's
queen.
A small-scale beekeeper, very active member of the
I did not know that was a
Beekeepers
thing.
Association,
I didn't
and
either.
Previous Wisconsin Honey Producers Association Youth Scholar, Emily Scala. The
Why
new
should Alice in
2026
Wonderland have
Wisconsin
all the
Honey
glory?
Queen. That's what the
Dairyland,
food
but
news
yes.
on a Monday. I
Her
am
too.
Farm Director Pam Yaki.
Between the lakes and beyond the headlines. 92.
Yes, I meant Alice in
Years
Dairyland.
ago in
Real
Shawano,
news
there was
and
this
great
guy in town. He thought he was a big promoter. And he was very proud of himself that he got into the Shawano County Fair. He convinced to come all the way from Chicago, the Chicago Honey Bears. And it was a group of like dancing college girls. I mean, not like risque, but just like,
Nobody had to tell
it
your
was fine, but
grandparents
like,
not to drive
it wasn't.
while using their
You would have
typewriters.
thought that he had brought in the Rockettes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The Wisconsin, the dancing Wisconsin Honey Bears.
Honey Bears.
By the way, Jeff Perry, you have got a lot of dancing names. Like, I wonder, have you been, fired and shifted around from place to place, or are you just constant under self-reinvention? What's the story here?
That was his time down on Water Street in Platteville. He danced under the Honey Queen.
And did the pole get sticky, is the question.
Can't imagine it wouldn't.
It was right there. I had to take it. It was just
this is why Jane's going to continue to be on our program even after because this is what I miss. This is what I would miss, right? All right.
All right, about 20 seconds.
Gracias. 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock on Monday, November 10th, 2025. It doesn't matter whether it's serious news topics, making you laugh until you cry, or with an electric vest. Our next guest will always entertain. She is the host of Matt and Air on Air every morning, Monday through Friday from 9 until 11 across the Civic Media Radio Network with her co-host Greg Bach. Jane Matnair joins us from snowy Milwaukee. Jane, how are you?
I am well, thank you. Hello, Todd. Hello, Zommers. No snow in Milwaukee, though. Racine. Yeah,
Right.
Racine,
Yeah, down-
Racine, Kenosha got 9.5 inches in some spots.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I was up at Richland Center for part of the weekend, or a large part. And now have you ever heard this? Because I got a lot of heat last week. Speaking of heat, I used the phrase "enough snow to track a cat." You ever heard that?
I have not. I mean, I haven't. I understand.
You're not the only one, believe me.
I understand paw prints in snow.
I know.
But I have not heard that particular phrase.
I don't know where. I guess my grandmother was just. I mean, maybe it was from the Richland County Okootch Mountain Hill talk. I don't know, but that was. I grew up with that.
The hills of
Jimmy-
Richland City.
Right. You've been out there, Jane. You know.
I have. I
Yeah,
have. A
absolutely.
beautiful part of the state.
It is, and we were out there this weekend hanging out with Mom, helping her get some things ready for winter. And some of the trees still have their leaves and are like, there's like one every so often where it just sticks out like a flame. And then that snow, it was absolutely beautiful. We drove up to Viroqua, where you and I have driven through.
Nice.
And it was magical.
I bet it was beautiful. We have such a beautiful state. We should celebrate it in some way every day.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was tuning in this morning to Matt and Air on Air, as I often do. And one of the great things about your program, the many great things, is not only do you and Greg make me laugh oftentimes, but you bring really great information. And I thought that today's segment that you had on Medicaid was one of the best that I have heard in a long time, because it was so helpful as I'm dealing with my own parents who are past retirement.
Right.
But tell us a little bit about your guest on this subject. And if people didn't hear it, go to civicmedia.us to Matt and Air on Air, and you can hear this segment today. Go ahead, Jane.
Ingrid Kundinger is on the senior patrol, and she works for Wisconsin Department of Resources for Aging. And so she joined us this morning just to explain the difference between regular Medicare, which when you turn 65, you get to sign up for regular Medicare. What is the difference between Medicare and Medicare Advantage? And one of the reasons we had her on, a good friend of mine is 87, and I talked to him the other day, and he said, I had 20 phone calls the other day,
Wow.
all related to Medicare Advantage. So I think there's a lot of confusion because Medicare Advantage sounds like it is a government program, and it's not. And there are things you can get. Todd, healthcare is so complicated, which apparently is why no one wants to fix it. But that's another discussion. But it really is very, very complicated. And I would highly suggest that you go back and listen to her. She joined us in hour number 2. So right after 10 o'clock, go to civicmedia.us, go to shows, go to Matt and Air on Air, look for hour number 2 today with Ingrid, and we spend a good half an hour talking about the differences and what happens if you don't take Medicare and where does Medicare come out of. And there's a lot of working pieces. And unfortunately, too, Ingrid was only able to answer so much. And if you need more questions answered, you're going to have to call Social Security. And right now, that's a very, very slow process.
It is indeed. And even I couldn't even prevent myself from messing it up as I set it up for you, because I was the dope that just called it Medicaid. And of course, that's something different. So
Something else.
I mean, this is Medicare. And what I got out of one of the biggest things I got out of the segment this morning, Jane, was your guest setting this up and saying, look, just because you have Medicare doesn't mean that some of your prescriptions, your hearing aids, your hearing tests, your dental, your vision are covered.
Right.
And I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm 56. Hopefully I got a few years before I have to retire. But it's never too soon to start thinking about this. As you guys pointed out this morning, if you're 64, you better get on it now.
Certainly start looking at it more closely and what kind of coverage you need. The one thing I didn't ask Ingrid this morning because it's not really her purview, but I find it remarkable that when we're talking about healthcare, we don't consider your eyes or your teeth as part of your health. That makes no sense whatsoever at all. None. No. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's super frustrating. Go ahead.
It is. It's extraordinarily frustrating, and one almost feels like it was designed to be very confusing. So people just throw up their hands and go, "I give up. I'm not going to sign up for anything. I don't know what to do." But take the time. It is absolutely worth it. And again, if you're a citizen and you've been paying taxes all this time, and you get to sign up for Medicare. But don't forget, like you said, prescriptions won't be covered. Vision won't be covered. Most likely your dental won't be covered. You'll have to get additional plan. There's Part C, Part D, all those things. And as far as the prescriptions go, Todd, and I can speak to this personally, one of my brothers got very, very sick out of nowhere 2 years ago with a very serious heart condition. And he did not have a Part B. He didn't have anything for his meds. And when he was released from the hospital, it was $16,000 just for medications. Just for medications. So, yes, you're healthy today. Hopefully you will be tomorrow. But don't put it off. They want you to put it off. Don't put it off.
Zommers?
Yeah, as somebody who's worked as a pharmacy tech, I can tell you that Jane's story is not uncommon. So do yourself a favor as soon as you can, if you're approaching that age or at that age, to try and get that stuff figured out. And if you need help, find a trusted family member or friend who can help you sort through it, because it's a lot.
It is.
It's overwhelming.
It is.
Zommers of County is going to put the link to Jane's second hour, this segment we're talking about, in our podcast description. So you can find it either at civicmedia.us, go to shows, go to Matt and Aaron on Air, or in our podcast, you can click on it. So it's worth your time.
And the other thing that Ingrid pointed out is with a lot of the Medicare Advantage plans, and especially if you get it in the mail, there's really teeny tiny fine print at the very bottom, that none of us read. That's where they get to have all the exclusions for all the things they don't cover. So get a magnifying glass and a big glass of wine and just take some time when you look at these things.
We're talking to Jane Matnair, host of Matt and Aaron on Air every morning from 9 until 11 on the Civic Media Radio Network. I also found out listening to Jane this morning, and Jane's ridden with me, Zommers. We've traveled the state together in a Dodge Ram truck, which she's anti-truckite.
That is not fair. If I were Trump, I'd say you're fake news and you're being obnoxious. I'm not going to talk to you. I did slur trucks this morning related to driving in snow.
Some are irresponsible, and I'll admit that.
Some are terrible, and again, think the laws of physics do not apply to them because they're in a big truck, and I hate to be the one to tell you, they do.
As the owner of a four-wheel drive truck, it does help you move forward in snow, but it doesn't help you stop.
Right. I have a Subaru Forester. This is my fourth Subaru. I love those cars. I can get through anything. I'm going to slide just as fast as the guy next to me and end up in the ditch. So forward motion is one thing. Stopping is a whole nother thing. It's a whole
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Story late this morning, Jane, from Molly Beck over at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. President Donald Trump has pardoned a handful of Wisconsin Republicans who participated in a scheme he created to try to overturn his 2020 election loss. Let me say that again, 2020 election loss. Trump pardoned most of the Republicans who signed paperwork falsely claiming to be electors for Trump when former President Joe Biden, a Democrat, was elected in Wisconsin. Instead, he also included 2 attorneys with Wisconsin ties who are alleged to be the architects of the plan. The list posted by Trump pardoned attorney late Sunday night. The attorneys late Sunday night included Carol Brunner, Mary Buston, Daryl Carlson, Andrew Hitt from Richland Center. He used to go to church with him. Kelly Rue, Bob Spindell, and Pam Davis. They also pardoned Kenneth Chesbrough and Jim Trupis. Jane?
Well, if you crime on behalf of Donald, or you pay him a couple $1 million for, his whatever fund, you get pardoned and you get away with it. If you try to pursue crimes going on in this administration, you will be prosecuted. That's what Pat and I talked about that briefly this morning. I don't think this should be any surprise. I think this is a continuation of the attempt to rewrite history, because I'm telling you, by the time if and when he leaves that office, he will have won the 2020 election.
Yeah, well, he'll claim that.
I'm telling you, this is all part of the effort to erase what happened on January 6th and the fact that he lost, and it was proved repeatedly in court that he lost. Over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago, where he was during the shutdown, golfing, by the way, someone reported on social media that they were running a loop about how he actually won the 2020 election. So that's not going away. That narrative is not going to go away. The man cannot accept he lost.
Also going around social media this weekend, and I'm sure you'll remember this, I think it was in his first term, Trump's, that he told Leslie Stahl, longtime correspondent for 60 Minutes, that he intentionally lies and exaggerates and attacks the media so that people will never believe what you say. Like, that's all intentional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When have we ever had anyone else in office, although, again, I assume this is why his supporters love him so, to respond to a reasonable question from a reporter and say, "You're obnoxious. I'm not talking to you. You're an idiot."
Right. Gene in Eau Claire, listening on WCFW, The Tap, called in and says hello. Always a pleasure to hear from you, Gene. Thanks for your listenership. She asks the question, don't you first have to be guilty to be pardoned? Well, I am no lawyer like Maggie Donner, Matt Flynn, or Jim Santel, but I believe, Jane, that you have to admit guilt to be pardoned. But that's I guess, an answerless for one of our attorney folks.
Yeah, I am only lawyer adjacent. I hesitate to give a solid answer on that because I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, my understanding, again, as a non-lawyer as well, is that as part of that, you have to admit guilt. So I'm not sure that you have to be found guilty, but you have to admit guilt. But Maggie will address that in her show coming up after hours this afternoon.
Well, and I just want to say, while we're speaking of some of Donald Trump's pardons, yet another January 6th, John Emmanuel Benuelos, 40, was arrested last month on kidnapping and sexual assault charges. A whole bunch of these January 6thers that got pardoned have gone on to do really heinous things. It's a good thing he looks at those pardons so closely.
Indeed, but never met the guy. Don't know him.
I know nothing about him. Other people said I should sign this, so I did.
Come back. We have news about Wolves in Milwaukee and Cougars at Mar-a-Lago. More with Jane Mattinair on the other side. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
That impacts you and your community from the Midwest Farm Report.
Jane, you're fantastic.
Sue in Franklin brings up a good point. It is my understanding that none of the people he pardoned have federal charges. He can't pardon state charges, but he did anyway.
November 7th, President Donald Trump pardoned.
Well, that's a good point.
So his pardons literally do nothing for most of those individuals.
Yeah.
But again, Maggie's going to be talking about this, I believe.
Oh, is she? Okay, good.
John Eastman,
Well,
and
we
other lawyers
set
who
that up
cooked
for us, so
the
that's
fake
good.
elector scheme, and Rudy Giuliani,
The part,
whose
here in
misinformation
Molly
helped
Beck's
fuel
story, if I would have kept
insurrection
reading,
at the
the
US
pardons are
Capitol.
largely symbolic. The
affects
order would
only
only shield
future
Republicans from
charges,
federal
since the
prosecutions.
GOP majority
I'll
US
mention that when we
House
come
and
back.
Trump Department of
Thank
Justice
you,
have
Sue and
not
Franklin.
indicted the bad actors identified by the January 6th committee. Some state charges remain. Among those pardoned include the lawyers who masterminded and facilitated the fake elector scheme, including John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Kenneth Chesbrough, and Boris Epstein. Trump personal and campaign lawyer Rudy Giuliani was also pardoned from any future federal charges. Giuliani repeatedly claimed, with no credible evidence, that widespread fraudulent mail ballots and manipulation of Dominion voting systems' optical ballot readers were responsible for Joe Biden's election. He still faces civil suits for defamation. Some, but not all, of the 84 fake electors from New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada were pardoned. It's not clear what criteria other than presidential loyalty was used or whether there will be more pardons to come. We have the complete pardon list at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
If you love animals and want to help in Dane County, shop, donate, or volunteer at one of Dane County Humane Society's thrift stores. I do these commercials up here for MDX for the Health Humane Society. This is my favorite one. There's one that talks about banging on your hood before you start your car in case there's a cat.
cats.
And so I'm doing this, and Zombers added in cat sounds. Meow!
Nicely done. Oh, I forgot to do my anniversary message. I have to do that tomorrow.
For FHR?
I doubled
Yes.
entry-level
Yeah,
wages.
I did mine
The
on
impact,
Friday.
productivity
Zombers
went up,
reminded me.
turnover went down, and the company was successful.
Greg was in here.
Hey everybody, Dane County Humane Society reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and little shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe and warm, including, guess where? Under car hoods and in the wheel well of your vehicle. So before climbing into your vehicle and starting the engine, bang on the hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org. That's one of my favorite PSAs I've
Well
ever done.
done.
Credit goes to Zombers. He put all the sound
WBA's right
effects.
there.
20 seconds.
WBA,
That's from last
baby.
year. So.
Yeah, didn't get us anything. A certificate.
Better than a rock.
Right.
Some smooth jazz for all the cougars out there.
One of my hitherto unknown dreams is to be dancing at the Rainbow Room in New York City with Jane Matner.
Oh, that would be great.
Wouldn't it be
Road
great?
trip.
I feel like we would do well at the Rainbow Room.
I think we could do okay. Yeah.
You can listen to her every morning a little closer to home on Matt Nair on air from 9 until 11 across the Civic Media Radio. Yes, I talk for a living. Radio Network, along with her co-host Greg Bach every morning. Glad to have you here. Quick here on one of our listeners, WMDX Karen says, good afternoon. A dedicated follower of both of your radio shows or radio station. Is it Jane Matt Nair who's on with you now, Todd? Well, yes, it is. They were talking about somewhere to go to look at Medicare choices at some the podcast. So yes, Zombers is going to put that in our podcast.
Yep.
And you can also go to civicmedia.us shows Matt Nair on air, hour number 2 at 10 o'clock, right?
Today.
Yes,
yeah.
I will also
it was
send her the
Ingrid.
link.
Yeah, Ingrid was our guest today to talk about the differences, again, between Medicare and Medicare Advantage. Not the same things.
Right.
Check into it.
Appreciate your listenership, Karen, and thanks for listening to both of our programs and the Civic Media Radio Network, and thanks for your interest in that. All right, Jane, a couple of quick items here. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel headline, it's November. You might see more coyotes in Milwaukee area. Here's why. Now, you live in Milwaukee.
I do.
I've been to your beautiful home there on the north side of Milwaukee, and they're saying now there's something called the Milwaukee County Coyote Watch. I did not know this existed, a project run by Milwaukee County Parks in collaboration with the Wisconsin DNR. It says sightings in Milwaukee tend to increase between November and March. Jessica Cannart at Milwaukee, a wildlife education biologist with the DNR, says one reason is that foliage where coyotes like to conceal themselves becomes sparse this time of year as trees lose their leaves. No place, nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. Yep. Food sources like vegetation and rodents are less bountiful in colder months, causing many coyotes to venture out of their usual paths to find food. Are you seeing more coyotes down there?
I have not seen more coyotes, but I mean, we're pretty close to a parkway, and I would think anywhere where there's water, if you're near a river, you're near a parkway, one of the many parks and parkways that Milwaukee has, you're going to see more wildlife there. So that doesn't surprise me. A couple of years ago when I was coming home, I saw a fox. This was when at like noon, crossing 4 lanes of traffic on Burleigh with a mouse in his mouth. He was like, yeah, I'm working here. What? So I guess that doesn't really surprise me, but be careful with your pets, especially
Indeed.
Small dogs and cats.
I remember going to a club in Milwaukee one time. I did see several bears and otters, but that's another story. Next, Axios brings us this story. D.C. plastic surgeons see surge in Mar-a-Lago face, quote unquote. Requests from Trump insiders. This is real. Since January, D.C. plastic surgeons have seen a wave of Trump insiders asking for overt procedures in line with the, quote, Mar-a-Lago face, unquote, look. Jane Metnair, why are women, now see, if I would bring this up, oh, you're being misogynist. This is real. I want to know from a woman's perspective, why are women, otherwise beautiful women, getting this look done to their faces?
I don't know, Todd, but again, if you're watching the live stream right now, you can tell I haven't had any work done.
You and me both,
for
baby.
Good or bad. But again, my father was a mortician, you guys. Right. So I come from this at a couple different angles. Number one, I've never understood when people take it to the point where it is so obvious now you've had work done. Right. And Mar-a-Lago face, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. Now, if you're trying to fool Death, he's not going to be confused. When Death shows up in the big robe with the sickle, he's not going to go, is that you? You look so young. No, he's going to know it's you. You're going. It's your time. So first of all, that's no out. I don't know that desire to look that way. I don't. And even, I mean, if you do, you can look for before and after pictures of Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yes.
You can do the same
Kristi
for Kristi Noem. There are a number of other women in that administration and in that circle who, yes, it very much looks the same. That's not my thing. I guess if it makes you feel better, go for it. I just know in my personal experience, if I wear too much makeup, if I wear a lot of makeup, especially at this age, I just look like an old, not very successful prostitute. So, I'm just kind of going with what I got. This is it.
I mean, that's probably that description's probably the kindest I could use to describe the people we're talking about. But
but they look good when they look in the mirror. They think they look.
They think.
Fabulous.
But is it for themselves? Do you think? Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but I don't think you know any of these people. But do you think they really believe that, or are they doing it to impress essentially one guy, Trump, or the people around him? Well, and that's what's sad to me.
That's very sad. And I certainly would think that there's a certain amount of pressure to have that look, but you can see variations of that look on every news station that we have, and certainly on Fox, although that's a whole different category of, but yeah, I don't know.
Here we have one of our viewers on YouTube says, Jane is fine. She just looks like she makes potions for a time-traveling twink.
Oh,
look at that! Look at that!
Well,
that's a nice
I owe
compliment.
you money. Send me your address, and I'll send you $5. That's very kind of you. But I I don't know. When during the pandemic, when I decided to let my hair grow out and go gray, it's just like, who am I kidding anymore? And I'm kind of proud that I'm still alive. There are people
100%.
who didn't think that was possible.
We're glad you're alive, too. You can listen to her every morning from 9 until 11 on the Civic Media Radio Network, the wonderful sounds of Jane Matnair. Thank you, my friend.
We'll see you on my show tomorrow at 9:30.
Thanks for the reminder. Hour 2 is next. Stay with us.
This is 92.7
Now, see right there. Oh, Jay left us.
No,
I'm
here.
I'm here. I was going to say, see, now that's what I call having fun. I thought that was a fun segment.
I was trying not to
half
be.
hour.
I was trying not to be too harsh about the melting Muppets at Mar-a-Lago, but which actually could be an entire movie.
I think we handled it very well, and because I do think it's sad. I just don't get it, and I think for people to ignore it and not talk about it, I think is goofy because everybody watches.
Say anything, but
well, and that's why I told you for Halloween I wanted to just cover myself in hair extensions and wear too much makeup because that's essentially the same thing. And after I texted you that, I did some research into hair extensions and all that stuff. Oh my God, Todd.
Really?
Oh
Really?
my God. If you have this done professionally and regularly, you're talking 20 grand a year. Oh,
No.
it's insane. It's insane.
I'm in the wrong business.
For really good, yeah. Yeah, you are, be happy. Be happy. Be happy.
Gary Tippler watching on Facebook. Hey, Gary, thanks for checking in. Says Jane and Todd, a great show together. Thanks. Oh,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to get out of your here.
All right.
See you, Zomer. See you, Todd. Thanks.
Thanks, Jane. Bye.
Bye.
For 92.7 WMD News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Wisconsinites who rely on SNAP got relief over the weekend. More than 24 states, including Wisconsin, and lots of advocacy groups sued the Trump administration, claiming the federal government is legally obligated to pay SNAP benefits during a government shutdown. They were successful, and late last week, a judge ordered that the federal government should fully fund SNAP and do it immediately. Here in Wisconsin, the program is called Food Share. Governor Tony Evers announced recipients are now getting money dropped into their accounts starting on Friday. He says it never should have come to this and called it contemptible that kids, families, and seniors had to go hungry. Nearly 700,000 Wisconsinites rely on the program to put food on the table. Vice President J.D. Vance called the ruling absurd and blamed Democrats for the shutdown, which has now lasted about 40 days, making it the longest in American history. Meanwhile, Social Security benefit payments are rising. Joanne Krulatz reports.
The Social Security Administration announced that Social Security benefits, including old age, survivors, and disability insurance, and supplemental security income payments for 75 million Americans will increase 2.8% in 2026. On average, Social Security retirement benefits will increase by about $56 per month starting in January. Over the last decade, the cost of living adjustment increase has averaged about 3.1%. The COLA was 2.5% in 2025. Nearly 71 million Social Security beneficiaries will see a 2.8% COLA beginning in January 2026. Increased payments to nearly 7.5 million people receiving SSI will begin on December 31st, 2025.
If you receive Social Security benefits, you should be notified by mail of the increase in the first week of December. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
The Bucks go to Dallas. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NBA. The Bucks play the Mavericks tonight in Dallas. Milwaukee losing yesterday at home to the Houston Rockets, 122-115. Head coach Doc Rivers.
I thought we were bad on both ends of the floor. We gambled. We did things that we just can't do.
College basketball, Marquette losing to Indiana, 100-77 in a game played at the United Center in Chicago.
Did you even end up talking about Cougars?
Well, indirectly.
I know, yeah. Ask Micah Parsons what his thoughts will be tonight after the loss of his former teammate, the Cowboys' Marshawn Nealon, died at the age of 24.
If I go 9-4, you're going to want me to kill him. He don't want me to kill him because he always played with the intent and passion and played the right way. And every time he stepped on the field, he gave it his all. Even when he was hurt, even when he was dealing with things off the field, he never let it show on the field. So I have to do the same thing.
That's the Packers' Micah Parsons with Sports on Mike Clemens.
From campus protests to Capitol politics, if it happens on the Isthmus, you'll hear it here. 92.7 WMDX. Real news and great conversation.
I'm meteorologist Rodney Price. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies into your afternoon. Northwest winds and mid-30s for highs. Clouds tonight. A few flurries will fall. Otherwise, mid-20s expected. A little bit of that light snow early Tuesday. Then some rain in lower 40s. It's 33 at our studios. Join You're it.
Almost got
The
it.
John and Gordy Show. I used to use the cart at Aldi. You never know when one of those carts had that quarter in it.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't use that anymore. I use one of those carry bags.
Oh, sure.
Is it toxic manly enough?
I'll ask someone at Aldi next time I go. How about that?
You'll come in here the next day with a black eye.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Get your own business.
Run your own life.
Weekday mornings, 6.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, a producer and engineer on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Monday, November 10th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everybody, to the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison, the intersection of State and Fairchild. A chilly day, Zommers, in downtown. So let's take a quick look at the old Sam Davidson street cam down there. Nobody, literally there is nobody on the street right now. I guess one person away over there by the Overture Center. A yellow cab. You don't see many of those anymore, but there's a yellow cab, a Badger cab or whatever that is. People are staying in, Zommer. Chilly indeed. It's going to continue to be so. But I think by the middle to end of the week, it'll warm back up into the high 40s, low 50s, maybe.
Which is a temperature range I would prefer to this.
I know. You enjoy some warm weather. Many thanks to Jane Matnair for being. How about Jane Matnair?
Always fantastic.
Always fantastic. And you can hear her every morning from 9 until 11 on the Civic Media Radio Network for Matnair on Air. And, of course, our own Mike Clemens, sports reporter. Packers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles tonight on Monday Night Football. Looking forward to that, Zommers. Now, do you have, so I have my radio set. We don't have we don't play the Packers on WMDX, our Civic Media station here in Madison, because the rights are owned by someone else. But I do listen to Wayne Larrivee and The Rock on the Packer Radio Network. But I also like to have the game on. I have YouTube TV, but I have the old rabbit ears or whatever. Now it's like just a plate, so I can get ABC over the air. Do you and your roommates have the same situation, or are you not going to be able to watch it?
Pretty much exactly the same YouTube TV, but we have the antenna.
All right, so you can see it. But a lot of people across Wisconsin who have cut the cord on cable and have moved to YouTube TV because of the ongoing dispute with Disney, which owns ABC and ESPN right now. They're having a conflict, an argument over rights in terms of money being paid to YouTube TV for the right to carry ESPN and Disney and ABC. So right now, if you have YouTube television via streaming, you cannot get ESPN or ABC. So you need a dish or a rabbit ear or whatever you want to call it over the air. But for a lot of people that live further outside of Madison, you can't get ABC, or outside of Milwaukee or outside of Green Bay or wherever, Eau Claire, you can't get your ABC affiliate over the air. So for a lot of people, and as someone who used to be a general manager for a sports bar, this is a nightmare for people who are using YouTube TV to provide their services to their sports bar, because they either got to find a different way to carry the game, or they're going to lose out on a lot of money. A lot of people that want to come and watch this tonight. So the best way to listen to the game is over our Civic Media Radio Network stations. Now, this is over the air on radio because we are not allowed to stream the Packer games on the Civic Media app because of rights owned by the NFL. But if you live in Richland Center, you can listen to it on WRCO. If you live in Park Falls, on WCQM. If you live in Racine, Kenosha, on WRJN. If you live in beautiful Watoma, on WAUH. And if you live in Ironwood, Michigan, one of our new stations up there, the UP, WIMI. Shout out to all those folks. You can listen to the Packer game there. So lots going on, Zombers. Which might be the reason, before we started the show today, you try to say hi to people in the office, and I walked by the hardest working folks here in the Madison office, the traffic office, which are the wonderful women who keep us on the air, who keep the commercials going. And I simply said, "Good morning. How's it going?" And there was a collective groan.
Yes, there was.
From the I had to wait. Do we need to call 911? Is everybody okay? No. Just Monday morning traffic. And we're not talking about the interstate. We're talking about, because these poor folks, now they're managing commercials and programming for 3 different states. We only got 3 people doing that. That's a state apiece. You understand? That's a state apiece. And they're doing a great job.
I feel bad for whoever has Wisconsin then if it's divided that way.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Shout out to all of our great folks out there, Carol, Denise, and Megan, who are making the magic happen.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make a motion here on the air on behalf of the company. We'll see if we can do this at our company-wide media or our staff meeting tomorrow. We should just make a motion and say that we should send them all to Sundara Spa. That's what they deserve, don't you think, Sommers?
But then who's going to do traffic?
Well, you do it on the weekend, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Sure. Well, let's do that.
Maybe this has something to do with the lack of air traffic controllers.
Maybe it does.
No, it doesn't. Todd's just being goofy. By the way, one update here where Jane and I were talking about last hour from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And if I'd only skimmed down to the bottom of Molly Beck's story, she clarified this. And thank you. Was it Sue, one of our great listeners?
Sue and Franklin, yeah.
Sue and Franklin, who we were talking about Trump pardoning many of these Wisconsin folks that tried to overturn the 2020 election. And she brings this up that, the pardons are kind of superficial because Trump can only pardon people for federal offenses or federal charges. And she's absolutely right. Molly Beck in her story in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel further down here says, quote, "The pardons are largely symbolic. The order would only shield Republicans from federal prosecutions." So law forward President Jeff Mandel, who brought a civil lawsuit against the Wisconsin Republicans, said the pardons send, quote, "an unmistakable message that this White House disdains democracy and will assist in word and deed any effort, no matter how extreme and outrageous, to cling to power regardless of election results," unquote. So many of these people like Kenneth Chesbrough, Jim Trupis, Bob Spindell, Andrew Hitt, Mary Bustrin, others, all pardoned today, federal charges. As, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I mean, it just continues right at the federal level. So thank you for pointing that out, Sue. Wanted to get that clarification out there. All right, it's 13 minutes. Oh, by the way, coming up at the bottom of the hour, not going to want to miss this. A very, very special tribute. Today, the 10th of November, marks the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald in Lake Superior. And for a lot of us who are around, I would have been 6 years old at the time. But I remember this happening. And it was all over the radio. I remember news reporters on the radio talking about it. And, of course, a few months or almost a year afterwards, Gordon Lightfoot came out with the song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which we'll hear from a little bit later on in the show. So at the bottom of the hour, we're going to pay tribute to the 29 souls that were lost on the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. And joining us for that, former Secretary of Commerce here in Wisconsin and a Superior native, Bill McCoshen, will be along, as well as Jenny Van Sickle, friend of the Edmund Fitzgerald group up in Superior, on their new historical marker on this 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So all of that coming up later on in the show. Let's get to it. It's 10, make it 14 past the hour of 3 o'clock. It's late. Time for another Wisconsin fun fact. Here we go.
Oh, Wisconsin, land of beauty.
That's right. Time for another Wisconsin fun fact. On November 10th, 1968, one of the strongest earthquakes in the Midwest occurred in south central Illinois. It measured at 5.3 on the Pat Richter scale. I just threw Pat in there. The Richter scale. Press reports indicated that the shock was felt in La Crosse, Milwaukee, Port Washington, Portage, Prairie du Chien, and Sheboygan. This was only eclipsed by the tremors felt when former Wisconsin football coach Brett Bielema ran to a porta potty at Jingles following the 2012 spring game. That's right. That's how we play Wisconsin fun fact. Did you ever go to Jingles back in the day, Summers?
I don't know what that is.
It's a sport. Was a sports bar out on John Nolan at the corner of Olin and John Nolan Drive out there, but not too far from where I live. It was big back in the day. Jingles, yeah. And Brett Bielema, he's a large man. But I'll tell you what, last time he was here, he put the nail in the coffin for poor Paul Christ, his former defensive coordinator. And Bielema won with the Fighting Illini, and I have a feeling he's going to win again. By the way, big shout-out to Wisconsin Badgers, and I'll give Fickle credit. They got a big win over the University of Washington, the Huskies. Remember, both Brandon Ewing and I on Friday said they weren't going to win, but they pulled it out. Defense was really, really good. Offense still not great. Now, look, the fans, particularly the student section, they decided to rush the field after the win. And I get it. Washington was ranked 23, so barely inside the top 25, but they decided to rush the field, which I don't know whether... I guess to me, when Wisconsin was being coached by Bielema or Alvarez or Paul Christ, you would have never rushed the field beating the 23rd place team because you probably would have been in the top 10 or top 15 yourself. But I get it. It's been a long, long time since they beat a ranked opponent.
Or an opponent.
Or an opponent, period. Now, I don't think it's going to go well for the Badgers this week at Indiana or the next week when Brett Bielema comes back with Illinois or the next week against the Flexters up at Minnesota. But you know what? Give the Badgers credit. I'll tell you this. Big shout out to the players, the student athletes, because they showed grit, they showed drive, they're not cashing it in, they continue to work their rear ends off, and I think that says a lot about the team, and I'll give the program credit. So I don't want to be a complete Debbie Downer, so congrats on the University of Wisconsin men's, I guess you wouldn't have a women's, but a football team. They did a great job getting that big win this weekend. All right, let's go quickly to Troy about Horeb. Troy, you wanted to say something about YouTube TV. If you have it, going to be hard to watch the Packers tonight. What do you got, Troy?
I'm coming over. I'll bring over a 12-pack of spotted cow. Huh?
Okay, very good. Very good.
No, actually, this isn't the first time I said this, but I wish I'd have gotten that antenna when Clinton was giving them away.
Right.
But,
yeah.
No. I saw that Sling TV will give you a day pass for $5.
Pardon me, what?
So I'm Sling TV.
Oh, TV. All right, very good.
Yeah. It's giving people a day pass for $5.
That's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap.
It's cheaper than me going to the bar. That's for sure.
Right? As long as they don't have YouTube TV. Just make sure you get an Uber or something because we don't want anybody being inebriated on the roads. Just be careful out there.
the wife is my DD. So
Oh, wow. Do you have to? Does she get a present for being your DD? Your designated driver?
She gets me. She gets me all the time.
No, I'm not. Oh, well, okay. We'll go along with that, Troy. All right, thanks for calling in. Go Pack Go. Appreciate you, Troy. All right, come on back. We're going to play a little What's Worse for you today, Amazon or Walmart. Farm news at the bottom of the hour. Then we will honor the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's a special Wisconsin edition of the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin. Maybe I've been drinking. No, I haven't. Just water. Come on back. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
MDX Madison.
We've also heard from both Carol and Megan. They aren't. I suspected. I didn't think they were the only three people in traffic, but I didn't
I messed
know.
it up. I messed it up. So now I have to redo myself.
Oh, yeah, now they can cook.
I could really go for some of that 12-hour smoked pulled pork.
Ooh, and some pasta. Okay, now I'm hungry. Sugar River,
All
here
right.
we come.
And they have that great kids menu, too.
We don't have any kids.
Right. That's beside the point. The point is, I'm hungry, you're hungry.
Let's go.
Yes. And we should talk about having some kids.
Get in the car, Bob. Sugar River, Sun Prairie, Verona, New Glarus, and catering.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect.
800-217-9129. 800-217-9129. 800-217-9129.
Black Friday? Just one day? How about Black Friday all month long at Verlo? During the month of November, prices are falling so you can save hundreds on mattresses and adjustable bases. Plus, save big on all the other stuff. The Black Friday event, only at Verlo.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here.
About 25 seconds.
Gracias. Having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 22 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Monday, November 10th, 2025. Glad to have you along. Now, it never fails, Zommers. No good deed goes unpunished, as they say, because I've been corrected now by the folks in the traffic office. Apparently, I've gotten a yellow light. Carol, I'll call her the head of I think that's right?
Yeah.
She's the head traffic person here at Civic Media. Does a great job. She says, I love the shout out to the traffic office, but it's not just the three of us. Pam, Rachel, and Bo, also Handle. Oh, Handle. Right? I can't even read. Handle talk stations. Bo is going to have words with you when you get back to Richland Center. Well, that's probably right.
And there might be Megan also texted and mentioned that there are others, including those, and potentially some new people from news stations we got.
I didn't mean to offend anyone. The people that I interact with every day are great traffic folks here. And it's kind of the titular head of traffic, right? You have other subsidiaries of traffic, but the main traffic stop it's the biggest intersection in Civic Media, you understand? I better quit while I'm ahead.
Probably.
Thank you to all the traffic people who keep us on the air. It's 24 past 3. Time once again for What's Worse. Here we go.
The choice is yours.
You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for what's worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved. Just your chance to have your voice heard on all 10 news talk and sports stations across the Civic Media Radio Network. Whew, timely indeed. As Mike Lucas likes to say, it is the holidays are really almost upon us, right? Especially with all this goofiness with air traffic now being delayed. They're already saying mail your Christmas presents if you're going to go that way. United States Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, Amish horse and buggy, whatever you're going to use, do it early. So here now, the category today, timely indeed. What's worse, Amazon or Walmart? Amazon or Walmart? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or text us on the old Civic Media app. You can do it by downloading the app on your Apple or Android device. Simply go to your app store, type in Civic, C-I-V-I-C, Media. It'll pop up, cute little CM logo. Click on that. It takes less than a minute. It's free. It's what CBS's Gail King calls a deal, the Civic Media app. What's worse, Amazon or Walmart? I think for a lot of people, it's kind of difficult because it's so convenient, right? And you think, I could just go on my phone or my laptop and order something, and sometimes almost the same day or the next day, you get it. If you got Amazon Prime, there's no delivery cost. It's just the thing. Or now, I know, and this is something I think is actually good for a lot of people because whether you like it or not, I was back in Richland Center this weekend, and the only options for food in terms of grocery store, well, I guess Quick Trip for some people, quite frankly, has become like the neighborhood grocery store, Quick Trip. But if you want like your regular grocery store, Walmart. Now, I'm not here to hate on Walmart, but for a lot of people who don't drive or what you would consider shut-ins, elderly folks, Walmart has a delivery service now. And for a lot of people, if it wasn't for that delivery service, they wouldn't be able to get any groceries at all. So that part of it, I think, is good. But you think about which corporation do I want to go to, Amazon or Walmart? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Mom and I took a lovely drive to Baraboo, Wisconsin this weekend and went to Festival Foods, where she got her big 14-pound, actually 13.98-pound turkey. Now, here's the deal. There was this big bin of frozen turkeys at Festival in Baraboo. And she said, well, I don't want it any bigger than 15 pounds. I would like a 14-pound. Well, there weren't a lot, quite frankly. I said, all right, fine. And so I was trying to see, well, how much are they? There was no prices. And so I thought, well, they put the price on the bird. And I said, well, here's one for $14. And she says, that is the weight of the bird. I said, really? So Mom outsmarted me because there was nowhere that said price per pound. And as it turns out, the price was like almost double what it was last year. It was like
I believe it.
It was like $2 something a pound, or I can't remember what it was. But we saved like quite a bit of money because Festival had some food sales going on. So anyway, we bought the turkey is in the freezer. What's worse, Amazon or Walmart? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Matt in Middleton, listening on WMDX, says Amazon is way worse as their tentacles, got to be careful there, are farther reaching and they cheat the tax system more. Allegedly, Matt. I don't know that to be true. That's Matt's opinion. Sarah, listening up a beautiful Green Bay via WISS on the transponder in Appleton, says Walmart is worse by far. That place makes me feel homicidal. Really? No, I mean, I get the fact that some of them are very big and overwhelming. And it's like, boy, I gotta limber up and do some stretches before I go to Walmart because it's a workout. You understand?
I will say, maybe some of it is the clientele. That could be the case of Sue's particular or Sarah's particular Walmart.
It could be. Sue, speaking of Sue in Middleton, a brand new texter out of Middleton via WMDX. Thank you, Sue. We appreciate that. Both are bad, Sue says. Walmart for their low pay and Amazon just because. All right, Stu and Middleton. I mean, again, it gets to kind of that necessary evil a little bit. I don't know. Parker Olson, the great Parkster, the producer for Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, says, I can tell you which one is better for people watching.
For people watching.
For people watching. I get it now. Well, yeah. Have you ever played Walmart Bingo?
I have not, but I'm intrigued.
Stay tuned. Our farm news is next with Pam Yonke, Midwest Farm Report. And when we come back, a special tribute on the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Bill McCoshen and Jenny Van Sickle will join us. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
More lakes, more bikes, better radio. WMDX. Local news, real voices, and conversations that count. That's Madison. That's 92.7 WMDX.
Most people know Silicon Valley as a place in Northern California where technology innovation thrives. But did you know the Silicon
I don't know
Valley
if it's still around, but there was an old website, very mean-spirited,
Stick around.
in all
That story is
retrospect,
headed your
called
way
People of
right after
Walmart.
this.
Oh, Lord.
That had pictures of interesting people seen at Walmart.
That would be a bad idea.
Yes, it is bad.
Adding Generator Elite to your herd's ration can introduce beneficial microbials that support gut health and help the herd navigate the highs and lows of feed quality, all while using less than an ounce per day per cow. Learn more about Generator Elite at bio-vet.com.
And you have the song timed out for the end.
Yeah, but for this segment, though, do I just do normal
Ethan,
music?
The International Program Director at the National Association of Animal Breeders.
You know what?
tells
Just
us why
can we come in just the
Wisconsin
opening
and
part
US
of it?
genetics are sought after worldwide.
Wisconsin is by far the largest semen producer. We're here in Madison. We call it the Silicon Valley of bull semen. This is where
Mr. Bill
it's at.
McCoshen, how are you?
Looks like it's still getting set up a little bit.
All right, sounds good.
Hello, are you able to hear us?
Can you hear us, Bill? We see you, but we can't hear you. I don't think he can hear us either. Can you hear us, Bill? You might have to go out and come back in. I'm not sure. Testing 1, 2.
Yep, looks like he's hopping out and back in.
Quarters, and new crop corn closed up 3 3/4 at $4.67 3/4. Cash soybeans closed up 13 cents at $11.30, and new crop soybeans closed up 10 cents at $11.10 1/2. Cash wheat closed up 8 cents at $5.35 3/4, and new crop wheat closed up 7 1/4.
All right, Bill, can you hear us now? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, he put his hand to his ears.
Yeah. We're talking, I'm not sure. Are you, let's see.
What about now? Test 1, 2.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
I guess he's still connecting earbuds over.
For highs, clouds
popped back
tonight.
out
A few
there.
flurries
I
will
texted
fall.
him just
Otherwise,
asking if he's using
mid-20s
Chrome as your
expected.
browser,
A
so
little
that
bit of
can
that
make a
light snow
difference.
early Tuesday, then some rain in lower 40s. It's 33 at our studios.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan.
Bill McCoshen, can you hear us now?
I can. Yeah, I just switched
cool.
to my phone. I couldn't figure out my computer. Sorry.
No worries. No, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you. Thank you for doing this on short notice.
Who's in this segment with us?
I believe Jenny Van Sickle from Friends of the Edmund Fitzgerald, although she's not here
30
yet.
seconds.
But
I'll add her in.
We'll add her in when she arrives. Thank you.
She's from Superior?
I think. I don't know for sure.
I think so too.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is now 35 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Monday, November 10th, 2025. It is a day for those of us who are of a certain age that remember it very well. It is the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the opening lines there, the opening tune of the iconic Gordon Lightfoot song there, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which we will hear later on in this half hour. But joining us to pay tribute to the 29 souls that were lost 50 years ago today in Lake Superior, a Superior native and former Secretary of Commerce under former Governor Tommy Thompson, Bill McCoshen, joins us now via StreamYard. Bill, thank you very much for being with us on what I know for the families is still a very tough day.
It's a very tough day. And if I was 10 years old when the Fitz sunk 50 years ago, and so anyone who's was alive and lived in the Twin Ports at that time, the Twin Ports being Duluth and Superior and the surrounding area, it is your most vivid memory of the 70s. There's just no question about that. And for the families, those 29 crewmates had sons, wives, children, and many of them are still alive today. And it's here we are 50 years later, still wondering exactly what happened on that fateful evening around sometime after 7:10 p.m.
Yeah, we actually investigated and kind of attempted, not kind of, we wanted to take the show up to Whitefish Point in the Upper Peninsula today and do the show there because there was, or probably going on right now, a public memorial service outside where they're actually going to ring the bell, the Edmund Fitzgerald, which was recovered back in the mid-90s. And then this evening, they're going to have a private service inside the Maritime Shipwreck Museum at Whitefish Point. But it would have required us to be outside, and this day is turning out perhaps similarly to what it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So we didn't do it, but the director there was very kind, and he was very, very adamant. He said, "You're welcome to come and do what you need to do, but you are not allowed to talk to any family members, and you have to stay away from the proceedings because it's a very tough day for a lot of people that are going to be there."
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, it shook the community of the Twin Ports for a very long time and still does. Anyone who was around during that time period will never forget, when the Fitz sunk. And for us from Superior, she got her last load at the Burlington Northern Ore Dock number 1 in what we call Eloise, Wisconsin, which is one of our little neighborhoods. And she set sail on the 9th, and sometime after 7 p.m. on the 10th, she sunk. And it's an eerie memory for sure.
It really is. I appreciate you taking time on short notice to join us because I think for a lot of people, Zommers is 26. I'm 56, so I was 6 years old, and I can still remember being in my parents' Oldsmobile Delta 88 and listening to the special news reports coming out over the radio in the car when this happened. And
yeah.
Growing up there, like you did in Superior, it just did you know any of the families tangentially or in the community up there?
I didn't, but here's my personal connection. So my oldest brother, Mike, ended up working at the Burlington Northern Ore Dock for 23 years. He is now, believe it or not, come full circle. He is the administrator of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway at the USDOT. So He signed on at the Burlington Northern a year after the Fitz was filled, so he got there in '76. But I know plenty of people who helped fill that boat that day, or their kids. Eloise and East End, where I grew up, are connected. So that's our part of town, and we know those families for sure.
We're talking with Bill McCoshen, former Secretary of Commerce here in the state of Wisconsin, under former Governor Tommy Thompson, a Superior native who joins us via StreamYard right now. Eliza, listening in Green Bay via WAUK in Milwaukee, says, I arrived in Wisconsin in 2014, and yet that song, Gordon Lightfoot's song, still makes me cry. I think it's a connection for folks our age, Bill, who were there, but it's a part of Wisconsin history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it still remains one of the most tragic, highest loss of life accidents on Lake Superior. And it's a part of Wisconsin history. Part of it's the mystery, but part of it's the tragedy and Gordon Lightfoot's song.
And to his credit, that's a masterpiece. If you are aware of this story, you can't turn the channel when it comes on. You're going to listen to it from beginning to end, and it's going to mean something to you. So if you're in a car with someone says, what is that? Turn that. And you don't, you probably knew a little bit of something about the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And it's, sadly, Gordon Lightfoot is now gone as well. But that's a story that's a song that will live forever.
I want to play, if you allow us here, Bill, just a clip, because maybe you've seen this. I had not until I was preparing for the show today. There is, I'm going to call it a documentary. It's called The Gales of November, Diving the Edmund Fitzgerald. And it's available right now across Wisconsin on local Fox stations. Kind of, as they say, check your local listings for day and time. It's also available on YouTube. But it goes back to 1994-95. The last time that there were people that were allowed to do sanctioned expeditions to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, they did the final cutting of the bell, the copper bell that was on the Fitz, and brought it up, and they replaced it with a basically a memorial with all the names of the 29 souls lost. And my understanding was that, Bill, that many of the family members were allowed to go out there, and for them, it was finally some form of closure, essentially a memorial service for these people. And it still gives me goosebumps just to say that.
Yeah, and Congress passed a law shortly thereafter that to make it an official gravesite. So there have been no dives for 30 years, and there never will be again. It doesn't appear. The submarines are much better than they were in 1995. You could probably do some more in-depth analysis of what may have happened, but for the families, they don't want that site disturbed. They want that to be the official burial ground of those 29 souls, and fortunately, Congress went along with that.
Play just a clip here. This is a clip from the documentary called Gales of November, Diving for the Edmund Fitzgerald, as told by a couple of the divers that were there and participated in those 94-95 dives.
The interest literally from all over the world. I mean, we did radio interviews with radio stations from Australia, and that just blows your mind when you think of literally worldwide interest in this shipwreck.
Hours of behind-the-scene video reveal the challenges and dangers of diving this deep.
The light slowly diminishes from Lake Superior until you get to about 250 feet. Then it goes dark.
It's complete darkness down there at 535 feet down in Lake Superior.
All of us were lost down there. We didn't have any way of triangulating locations or distances.
You're kind of straining your eyes trying to see out into this foggy light out ahead of you.
So we had lights, of course, on the sub, but the lights only go maybe 20, 25 feet. And there's a lot of darkness beyond that.
You light it up a little bit, and you keep telling yourself, okay, we're not going to hit the ship before we see it, are we?
Back off a little bit, you're too close.
When you go down to the sub like that, you don't land right on top of the wreck.
Okay, that's good.
You land off the wreck a bit, and then you use your sonar.
And then we started heading what we thought was the wreck, and we're going across, and all of a sudden I see bottom, and a giant crack in the ground. We were actually on the Edmund Fitzgerald and didn't realize it.
That is a clip from Gales of November diving the Edmund Fitzgerald, available on local Fox stations across the state of Wisconsin. Check your local listings and YouTube. Bill, I had not heard that. Have you seen this doc at all? I mean, it's just powerful.
It's powerful. I've seen the clips. I haven't seen the full one. There's another one that was produced by Discover Media here in Madison that will air on KBJR, which is the NBC station in Duluth, Minnesota, tonight prior to the Monday Night Football game. They're going to show the half-hour version, but they've done an hour-long documentary on the sinking of the Fitz. So there's so much more material out. The amount of content that's been released over the last 10 days for the 50th anniversary is extraordinary, including someone you and I know, Thomas Nelson, former state lawmaker, now current county executive of Outagamie County, released a new book about the sinking of the Fitz.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to read it. I think Pat Kreitlow had an interview with him this morning on Mornings of Pat Kreitlow, and to your point, it just really cut every line, whether it's partisan or politics or rural and urban. I think it's something that all of us as Wisconsinites share in, but again, particularly hits close to home for those of you who are Superior natives.
Yeah, when the Fitz needed work, it generally got repairs at Fraser Shipyards, which is still in Superior, and hopefully about to go through a major expansion. So we're very familiar with the Fitz. It was for this.
Might have some trouble there with Bill McCoshen, so we're going to work on that. Might have to, these things happen, of course, with internet connections. It is 45 minutes past the hour right now of 3 o'clock, and we're talking about the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, certainly hitting home for a lot of Wisconsinites. I want to read a passage. This is from Wisconsin Public Radio, written by Danielle Kading. And she writes a great article. Go to wisconsinpublicradio.org and check this out. And she writes this, quote, Missy Clark Nabosny was 11 when she lost her grandfather in the sinking of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. The Ashland resident remembers the wet snow whipping against the windows that night. She and her sister, Chrissy, who was 10, stared at a picture of the boat on the television set. Quote, we both were just staring at the screen like, what's going on? Clark Nabosny said. My mom was just freaking out, very upset, sobbing. Her mother, Patricia, was the eldest of 3 children born to John Simons, a wheelsman from Ashland who had been sailing with Fitzgerald from its first voyage. And at 64, she said the trip was set to be his last before retirement. Bruce Kalman, who had been watching TV when the news came across that a 729-foot ore carrier had been reported missing, he knew that was the length of the ship that his father, Alan Kelman, was sailing aboard. His sister woke their mom. The kids were sent back to bed, but Bruce said they could hear her making phone calls for half the night. Quote, there was uncertainty as to what was going on, Kelman said. My mom was 38 years old and had 5 kids, so you can figure what was going on in her mind. By morning, Clark Nabosny said they knew the ship was gone. Quote, there was a lot of sobbing, a lot of crying, but it was quiet, she said. Chaos, quiet chaos is what I called it. Part of the article from Wisconsin Public Radio entitled 50 Years Later, Edmund Fitzgerald Sinking Leaves Lasting Effects on Families and Forecasting. That was one of the things that came out of this great tragedy, is that weather buoys were placed on Lake Superior afterwards, and advances were made to prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again. So there is a legacy of technology that lasted after this. But I think it's really important to remember on this day that there are 29 families who lost a father, a brother, a friend on the Edmund Fitzgerald. And many of those folks who went through that loss are still feeling it to this day. Many thanks to Bill McCoshen for taking time for being here and sharing his remembrances. When we come back, the final transmission of the Edmund Fitzgerald and the song by Gordon Lightfoot.
listening to 92.7 WMDX, Madison's home for the Maggie Dawn Show, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Wisconsin. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. We are just about 1 year away from the 2026 midterm elections. The Democratic field in the race for governor is very nearly set. Just one major decision looms, and that's the one from former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Barnes seems
you go ahead and
to
start
run
it
for
whether
governor,
I'm
and because of
wrapping
that,
up or not.
2022
So,
run
I mean,
for
I'll
the U.S. Senate warrants a fresh re-examination.
I'm going to try to get in
So,
the
in a
quick
new
regular
column at the
stuff and then a
recombobulation
little
area,
bit of
I
this
took a
final
closer
transmission
look back
here.
at that race and his campaign.
You're just reading
Barnes
it?
lost to Ron Johnson by about
The transmission,
1%
yeah.
in one of the
But
closest
the rest of the
elections
stuff
we've
I'm
ever had for Senate
Right, but
in
I mean,
Wisconsin.
yeah,
It was a
it's not
near miss
audio.
that
Oh, no,
reflected both
sorry.
Barnes' potential and
Yeah, there's
probably like a
limitations.
telegram
In
or something, right?
retrospect,
Yeah,
I think his campaign managed to
it
be
might
both
exist in
overrated
audio,
and
but I
underrated
didn't
at the
find that.
same time. Underrated in the sense that he was unfairly maligned in his effort to unseat a well-funded two-term incumbent. Overrated in how the campaign made certain strategic errors that proved costly in the end. If Barnes does indeed run again in a statewide race, he's going to have to do things differently in order to win.
Find all of Dan's work at the recombobulation area.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns, it's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction,
And then, do you want me to
anxiety,
put
depression, and
the
trauma goes hand in hand.
Yeah, just put the
screen
card up.
of
Yep.
when? Okay,
Life
yeah.
breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
We have Emerson Lehman in the studio. I don't get excited about gardening. My wife will say, oh, it's going to be gorgeous this weekend. We should work in the yard. I'm like, why would we penalize ourselves for having beautiful weather by going outside?
My dad, I went home to visit one summer. My dad's out moving rocks. Yeah, I'm not moving rocks for fun. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Dad.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Thank you. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 8 before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC, CBS News, followed by a check of weather, sports with Mike Clemens as we get ready for that Monday Night Football game, Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles, followed by another great edition of Maggie Dawn and Pete Schwaba. Want to end this show with a tribute to the 29 souls lost on the Edmund Fitzgerald. This from the ssEdmundFitzgerald.org. And again, many thanks to Bill McCoshen for coming on the show today. They chronicle here at ssEdmundFitzgerald.org the final hours, the final days on the Edmund Fitzgerald. At 3:15, 50 years ago today, Captain Jesse Cooper of the SS Arthur M. Anderson watches Fitzgerald round Caribou Island and comments that the Fitzgerald is much closer to 6 Fordham School than he would want to be. And the final transmission later that evening at 7:10 in the evening, actually make it, about 7:10, that they were holding their own. That was the last that we heard from the Edmund Fitzgerald. Here is Gordon Lightfoot.
The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. Then later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound, and a wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late and the breakfast had to wait when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck saying, "Fellas, it's too rough to feed you." At 7 p.m. a main hatchway caved in. He said, "Fellas, it's been good to know ya." The captain wired in, he had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril. And later that night when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered. In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early.
At 7:10 p.m., 50 years ago, the captain of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Captain McSorley, said, quote, "We are holding our own." They never did speak later. The 29 men aboard the Fitzgerald will never be heard from again from anyone outside the ship. May they rest in peace. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. Thanks for staying with us for that tribute. Really, really appreciate it. Have a great evening. Talk to you later. Bye.
Adios.